Good morning, madam. Madam, you are on mute.
Good morning, lady miss. Our guest has joined.
All the guests have joined, madam.
Our management.
Management, Alexa has come, but is not joined. That is our chief guest, madam, Ramu Damodaran, sir. He has joined from US.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Sir, Professor Preeti Tekat is our principal.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, can you see me?
Sir, your voice is a little feeble. Good morning, sir. Sir, our president has joined.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, our chief guest has joined from US. Ramu Damodaran, sir, Professor Ramu Damodaran. And Ashmita madam has joined from Pune.
Good morning, ma'am.
And Professor Anesthesia has joined from Ukraine.
Good morning, madam.
And Professor Oleg Popov has joined from Ukraine.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. I'm here. All good. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's early morning, 5:30 there, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
5:30 and late night in US. Sir, 10:45, sir, there, night. Sir, you are on mute, sir.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, 10:30 again. Yeah.
10:30 in New Jersey. So we will be live streaming this session in YouTube and Facebook. Hello, Saha sir. You are joining from Orissa, I believe. Saha sir, you are on mute. Madam Anastasia, can you please switch on your camera? Yes, madam.
Good morning, I'm
you.
here.
It's very early morning there, I know, 5:30 a.m. Thank you for joining. Shall we start? So we shall start the session now.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining.
Before beginning the event, I request each and every participant to kindly mute their audio for better clarity. I repeat once again, I request all the participants to kindly mute their audio.
ഇത് മ്യൂട്ടാണ് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല ഒന്നും കേൾക്കുന്നില്ല
Sustainable development is a pathway to the future we want for all. It offers a framework to generate economic growth, achieve social justice, and strengthen governance. A very warm good morning to all the directors of the TIST family, honorable chief guests, distinguished guests, principal, deans, HODs of all departments, faculty members, non-teaching staffs, and my dear friends, with great joy and immense pleasure to the inauguration ceremony of the second International Conference on Innovative Trends in Engineering for Sustainability. With that, I take you to our programs of the day. Every occasion becomes a fortunate one with the blessings of the Almighty God. So, for the invocation, I would like to invite Miss Alicia A. Alicia, please.
ദൈവമേ നിൻ തിരു സന്നിധി ചേർന്നിതാ തനയരിൽ സദയം വരമരുളൂ സന്തതം ശ്രുതി മധുരമാം നാമം വാഴ്ത്താം സുതരാമിവരിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ അറിവിൻ പ്രഭയായാർത്തരിലലിവായി സമസൃഷ്ടി സ്നേഹത്തിൻ ചൈതന്യമായി അറിവിൻ പ്രഭയായാർത്തരിലലിവായി സമസൃഷ്ടി സ്നേഹത്തിൻ ചൈതന്യമായി നറുമണം തൂകുന്ന മലർവാടിയാകുവാൻ നറുമണം തൂകുന്ന മലർവാടിയാകുവാൻ നന്മ സ്വരൂപ അനുഗ്രഹിക്കൂ നന്മ സ്വരൂപ അനുഗ്രഹിക്കൂ ദൈവമേ നിൻ തിരു സന്നിധി ചേർന്നിതാ തനയരിൽ സദയം വരമരുളൂ സന്തതം ശ്രുതി മധുരമാം നാമം വാഴ്ത്താം സുതരാമിവരിൽ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ കൃപ ചൊരിയൂ.
We feel really blessed. Next, we have the welcome address. For that, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Vasudev R., Organizing Secretary, ICI TEST, Department of Civil Engineering, TIST. Sir, please.
Good morning to one and all gathered over here in this virtual platform. January is perhaps a month of hope to all of us to have a best year ahead. As for all, Department of Civil Engineering of Kochi Institute of Science and Technology have initiated its best step of organizing an international conference. This is our second international conference on innovative trends in civil engineering and sustainability, ICI TEST 2021, jointly organized by the Civil Engineering Department of TEST and Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. I feel very much privileged to deliver my duty of welcoming you all to ICI TEST 2021. Dr. Alex Matthew, our beloved president of Kochi Public School Society, is a leading force to all the TESTians in our overall development. On behalf of ICI TEST 2021, we extend a warm welcome to you, dear sir. Professor Ramu Damodaran, Chief of United Nations Academic Impact, UNAI, has been keen enough to be our chief guest of this remarkable day. Sir has joined us from New Jersey, USA. Also, Sir has shown high interest for ICI TEST 2021 as it is being organized at God's own country, which belongs to him too. I, on behalf of TEST family and department, extends my warm welcome to you, sir. Professor Oleg Popov and Professor Anastasias Pandas, professors, Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine, is a part of us in organizing the conference. On behalf of TEST and Department of Civil Engineering, we wish you a warm welcome to our midst, dear professors. Dr. K. Varghese, founder, director, and manager of Kochi Public School Society, is godfather to all of us. My sincere prayers on behalf of the department, seeking your blessings and extending a warm welcome to you, sir, to this inaugural ceremony of ICI TEST 2021. Professor Ashmita Joshi Divekar, Director, UNAI Hub BNCA, is amongst us who have extended a constant support to us in this ICI TEST 2021. A warm welcome to you, dear madam. Professor Mangesh Kashyap, President Serum, who is our motivation in organizing the conference as we see it now. I welcome you, sir. Professor Dr. P.J. Joseph, Director, Kochi Public School Society, is a constant support and guidance to our department. I welcome you, dear sir, to this August gathering. I welcome all our beloved directors of Kochi Public School Society to this inaugural ceremony, even though they have not joined us as it is a virtual conference. They have sent their blissful blessings for this venture. Professor Dr. Preeti Tekkath, Principal, Kochi Institute of Science and Technology, showers care and considerations to all our department and motivates all of us. We welcome you, dear madam, to this remarkable event of Civil Engineering Department.
Thank you.
Our own leader of all activities of the department, Professor Leti Karthi, Head, Department of Civil Engineering, is with us round the clock for the meticulous conduct of this conference. Extending a welcome to you is always from our heart, dear ma'am. Whenever we contacted our respected reviewers, chairs, and co-chairs for several requirements of reviewing and judging papers, in spite of their busy schedule, they have readily accepted our request. We record our wholehearted welcome to all our reviewers, chairs, and co-chairs to this inaugural session. I welcome Dr. Anil Joseph, President, ICI KKC, who shall be there for all ventures of Department of Civil Engineering test. I welcome you, sir, for this inaugural session. Active participation of delegates from various institutes in and out of the country inscribes the success of any such conferences. My hearty welcome to all of you towards our midst. I welcome the deans, HODs of various departments of test, and officials of Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine, to the inaugural function of ICI Test 2021. Words are insufficient to welcome my own colleagues of Department of Civil Engineering to this inaugural session. Most delightful welcome to you all. Beloved students, you shall gain a lot of knowledge from this 3-day conference upon listening to various speakers and researchers. A pleasant welcome to you too. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to all and wishing to have a feel at home ahead with us during these 3 days of conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that welcome. Now it's our pleasure to have a wonderful person with us. I invite Dr. Alex Matthews, sir, President, Kochi Public School Society, for the presidential address, and to introduce him further to us, I invite Assistant Professor Sangeeta S., Department of Civil Engineering, TIST. Ma'am, please.
Good morning to all. It's my privilege to introduce our President, Dr. Alex Matthews, sir. Dr. Alex Matthews, President TIST, is a well-known counselor, a doctor of theology and PhD holder in Christian counseling. He has got long experience of nearly 40 years in counseling in 3 continents, Asia, Africa, and America. He has worked with renowned psychologists as a group therapist among the mentally challenged and addicts. Prior to this, he has also held the post of Education Officer in the Ministry of Education, Tanzania. He is a member of various organizations including AMS India, Christian Medical Association of India, American Association of Counselors, Gideon International, Kerala Counselors Forum, YMCA, etc. He is a master trainer in life skills to cope with life and adopt a blessing being mode of life and help to set up goals, plan priorities and follow up, which really help the modern man who is facing myriads of day-to-day problems. He is the founder of Agape Life Ministry and Services in India, a charitable Christian service society, doing counseling, training, guiding, directing help to the rejected and needy in the lower echelon of the society since 1999. He is the Executive Secretary of Kochi, India, and also the President of Grace Counseling India, a Christian charitable counseling organization involved in regular training and counseling since 1985. He has authored books titled Beyond Techniques and Making of Christian Counselor. Thank you.
Sir, please.
Sir, can you hear us? Sir, your presidential address, sir.
Very warmly seeing the faces of all of you, I see within me, in my inner eye, I see all of you raising your head. Each of you reflect the glory of God in one way or the other. It's such a privilege to be addressing you and coming before you, representing the institution, Kochi Institute of Science and Technology, and offer you a warm welcome into this international. And I wish you well for the next 2 days, where you will be transacting a lot of important issues. As you have heard from the introduction, I'm not a technological person. I'm more of a person. And whenever I address instances or situations like this, I give emphasis to the human factor. Today and the next 2 days, we will be discussing the sustainable development of technology, and especially in the context of civil engineering. I just want to focus my attention on this word, sustainable. Sustainable development, it implies growth, develop and grow. And growth is not controlled by a monolithic single factor. It's a multifactorial coming together to cause development and growth in the subject and in the industries associated with that, all the tasks associated with that particular discipline. Technology is going ahead in leaps and bounds. There is no stopping it. It's going up and up every day, every moment. More discoveries are coming, and we are going up. I have an annoying doubt. Technology is it self-sustainable in itself, by itself? Unless, of course, it is fed by the human component. There are so many components in association with the sustainable development in any technological branch. But for me, the human component is the sanctosanct. It's the most important element in taking technology up. And now in this context, when we look at technology, and as for me, the human component in it, we need to think on the various ecological factors that control the human element. For one thing, the intellectual part of the human entity is the one which brings in improvement in technology. But it's not per se intellectual facility only. You have to consider the somatic element or the physical element, the emotional element, the volitional part. And of course, as for me, I would say the spiritual part also. The ecology of all this need to be maintained and made perfect if the human factor is to work efficiently. Failure in any technological advance or in the operational details of technology, what really is the most important factor? For me, it's the human factor. Let me say a small joke. Once from a parachute jumping airplane, the jumpers were queuing up and they were about to jump one after another. And one fellow, when his turn came to jump, he asked the technologist by his side, if by any chance this pack doesn't open, what will I do? Then the technologist said, oh, in that case you can bring it back. So the parajumper is told, if the pack doesn't open, you bring it back. We forget the fact the pack may not open because of some snag from the technology part, the person who packed it. But he was not willing to take it on to himself. He said, oh, if it doesn't open, bring it back. That sort of attitude from a technological person will bring in innumerable, untold miseries. We go on with our experiments and with our workshop teaching. We teach our students to become the best operatives or the best persons, best engineers. But if they don't measure up, it will not be totally their fault. Somewhere along the way, we fail. The teaching community cannot per se take all the responsibilities, but all the same, things can go wrong largely because of the human factor. The Apollo 11 was shot up and it was going to moon because of one tile was not fixed properly. And then the whole thing burned out. One tile. But where was the snag? Everything was perfect. All the huge amount of research behind Apollo 11, and it was all perfect, functioning perfect. Coming into the second stage, one tile broke out and the heat was not resisted. That was a human factor. So in my mind, when we are dealing with teaching the students technological details and helping them to understand the sustainability of a discipline by itself, all things being perfect, if there is a snag in the human element, we fail. When we look at the students, when we teach and when we come out with all very important and beautiful papers, we have to have a look at the whole picture. Whatever it is, unless we have the whole picture clear and our integrity in our contribution to any part that we are contributing, that will cause a problem. All said and done, the scientific community has to maintain its integrity. If that doesn't happen, if there is some sloppy ignoring of anything happens in any area of the development of a machine or a technique or a principle, things can go wrong. Our problem, very often, we don't try to look at things holistically. The whole is important. We are all part of it. All of us are part of it. But if there is a snag in one area, in one person, things can go wrong. We have to take things together and lead people and instruments and principles all together as one. And so it becomes very clear to each one of us. If in any one of us there is a lack of perfection, perfection is not always possible, but to the extent that is possible, we try to be perfect. The result, if the result is to be wholesome and perfect, the contributors have to be very, very careful that I am doing the right thing in the right manner and in the right spirit. Where we fail, all technology can collapse. Technology is impersonal. It is built up, it grows. And the growth will have to be wholesome. And for that growth, the contributors, the people behind it, has to perform to the degree that is possible, but be perfect to the degree that is possible. That all depends on the individual. We cannot blame technology or the instruments that come out through our research and findings. If anything goes wrong, it's the individual that is responsible. So in the classroom and in the research laboratories and in the field, personal perfection is the most important factor that will make something sustainable. The ecology of the human components, like, as I said, the physical, intellectual, emotional, volitional, and spiritual components of the human being. All these have to function in a holistic manner for a positive result. If we can inculcate that type of personal culture in the children whom we teach, we can achieve great things. Sometimes children give up for various reasons. My area is helping the children to identify their areas of problems and then correct it and go ahead. But as a teacher, as a professor who is giving them instructions and guiding them in their growth, you will be able to achieve sustainable development through wholesome growth by the things, by the support that you give to these individuals. So my prayer and my request to all of you is to do your best and be satisfied in your own conscience that you have contributed the best according to you to produce the right community, the right scientific tempered individuals for doing what is expected of them, what is required of them. We prepare them. And that is our duty. That's our obligation. And to that end, I pray that the universal force, or what we call God, I pray God that all of us would be equipped for delivering the maximum excellence that is possible from us. God bless you to give that sort of help to the children that will come your way. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We feel the importance of the human component in the sustainable development. Next, we have a special address by Dr. K. Verghese, founder, director, and manager, Kochi Public School Society. And to introduce him further to all of us, I invite Assistant Professor Mary Dhanya, Department of Civil Engineering, TIST. Ma'am, please.
It's my privilege to introduce Dr. K. Verghese, founder, director, and manager of Kochi Institute of Science and Technology and Kochi Public Schools at Vaitla, Tripunithura, and Punalur. He is a committed social worker. He has founded Chaitanya, Home for the Mentally Retarded, run by the YMCA Ernakulam, and is a member of the National YMCA New Delhi. He has donated land for a trade school run by the Rotary Club of Kochi East, of which he was the founder chairman. He has visited Europe, America, Canada, China, and several other Asian countries. He is the Indian Commissioner of Kochi International and the past president of several social organizations such as the Rotary, Wiseman, YMCA, and the Gymkhana Club Ernakulam. He was a member of the Director Board of the Medical Trust Hospital Kochi and also the president of Kochi Public School, Udyogamandal, and vice president of the CBSE School Management Association. In recognition of his various social, cultural, and educational activities, he was conferred the Doctorate of Philosophy in Social Service by the Cosmopolitan University, University and Research Institute, Missouri, USA in 2006.
Good morning to you all. President of this institution, Dr. Alex Matthew, International Learned Scholars, my colleagues, professors, principal, HOD, faculty members, and my dear students. Today, we are here to celebrate an international conference on innovative trends in engineering for sustainability jointly with Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture and Eurocad. This year conference is mainly focused on sustainable infrastructure development with knowledge partnership of Serum and Rebuild Kerala in initiative of Kerala government. You may be knowing that our country is a developing country which has got independence from British people in the year of 1947. Our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, started a 5-year plan for the development of our country, and still such activities are going on. We require a lot of facilities because of our population is increasing day by day. During independence, India's population was only 40 crores, but now it is 130 crores. Definitely increase of population intends more developments in areas. Now innovations and inventions can bring the development. For example, during independence, we were using bullock carts and small trucks for transportation. But now every house are having more than 2 vehicles. Construction of new bridges, roads, buildings, etc. are very much necessary for the smooth connectivity. Civil engineering play a major role in the infrastructure development of our country. All sectors constructed in the exhibit the path of civilization and current infrastructure development express the practices followed by civil engineers. We are here to feed our country generally with the developing tactics for improving our state of our country. Many learned people are waiting to address you. So I do not want to take much of your time. And I pray to the Almighty God to bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The entire civil engineering department of this is extremely lucky to be able to organize ICATS 2021. So, to tell you more about civil engineering department TIST and ICATS 2021, I welcome the backbone of civil department, Professor Leti Karthi, HOD and organizing chair, ICATS 2021, Department of Civil Engineering TIST. Ma'am, please.
Very good morning. I'll just make this presentation. Once again, a very hearty welcome to this second international conference on innovative trends in engineering for sustainability. I'll be presenting on some of the aspects we have considered and about TIST, about CE TIST, and about ICITES 2021. Now, when you talk about TIST, there is a beginning. This Tokac originated in Belgium during the First World War, and Tokac is named after Talbot House, Tok signifying the letter T. Tokac Cochin chapter, a non-profit society, started in the year 1978, and TIST is the Silver Jubilee project of the Tokac Public School Society. Now, when you take TIST at a glance, our institute is Tokac Institute of Science and Technology, and it was established in the year 2002. It is affiliated to the university, APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University. Our institution is a private and self-financing institution, and it is a co-ed educational institution. We have 9 departments, 9 UG course and 6 PG course, including MBA. We are located at a rural area at Arakunam, Ernakulam, Kerala, India. And our campus is 26 acres. You can get all the details from our web address tistcochin.edu.in. Our institute has a vision and mission. Our vision is to become a globally recognized institution with developed professionals with integrity who excel in their chosen domain, making a positive impact in industry, research, business, and society. The mission is to provide the ambience necessary to achieve professional and technological excellence at the global level, to undertake collaborative research, and to instill in our graduates ethical values and empathy for the needs of the society. We concentrate on outcome-based education, for which we have 3 program educational objectives, 12 program outcomes, program-specific outcomes pertaining to a particular course, and value-added courses and skill development courses also. Coming to our department, Civil Engineering Department at TIST, we established in the year 2006 with a sanctioned intake of 60. We have started our MTech course in Construction Engineering and Management in the year 2013 with a sanctioned intake of 24. The vision of our department is to transform into a center, creating change agents in civil engineering with professional competency, integrity, and ethical values for serving the society with the highest level of proficiency through their chosen domain. To achieve this, we have a mission to provide ambience to create civil engineers to serve the society collaboratively, competently, and ethically, to provide an academic environment for research and development, and to inculcate professionalism through teamwork, effective communication, and leadership skills, to encourage and empower the faculty in the field of engineering education, mentoring, and through teaching learning processes, to impart hands-on experience to aspiring undergraduates through interdisciplinary research projects, industrial training, and consultancy work. For this, we have very good faculty in our department, 17 teaching faculty with specialization in structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, environmental engineering, transportation engineering, water resource engineering, construction engineering and management, and geoinformatics. We have technical assistants and lab assistants, and we have a construction wing which oversee all the construction work in the institution. These are the departmental achievements. We have many. I've listed only 10. Our institute is NBA accredited till 2023, and our department is a KTU approved research center with approved guides. We have an MOU with Odisha State Academy of Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. We have industry supported laboratory, MOU with Rebuild Kerala, Government of Kerala for third party consultancy. We are technical advisor for PMAY for Mulanturuthi Block Panchayat. We have active association with Water Resource Engineering Department, Government of Kerala for pollution abatement of rivers in Kerala. We have well-placed alumni in various professional fields. Our Center of Excellence is in green building material. We provide hands-on training for the students in live projects. So far, we have completed one international conference. This is our second international conference. National level, 2 seminars, national level, 2 workshops, other workshops, and 8 FTPs non-QIP program. Coming to what is ICITES 2021, the International Conference on Innovative Trends in Engineering for Sustainability. We organized this jointly by Civil Engineering Department TIST and Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture. The theme of the conference is Sustainable Infrastructure Development. Our knowledge partners are Serum and Rebuild Kerala, which is an initiative by the Government of Kerala. The objective of this is to focus on the importance of sustainable development through engineering, to evolve new perspectives for the views of erudite professors who will be giving keynote address and experienced professionals on various topics in sustainable development, to provide a platform for researchers and academicians to share their thoughts and findings on sustainability Through various sessions, we have planned 13 sessions to help the students to stay ahead with the state-of-the-art knowledge on sustainable development, to bring out novel proposals for sustainable infrastructure development. The themes we have chosen based on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals related to various aspects of life on Earth. The themes we have chosen are 8, good health and well-being, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, industry innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, climate action, life below water, and life on land. Based on these themes, we have received 84 research papers, 14 international and 17 national. We have got these papers reviewed by national and international experts who are experts in their own field. And we have planned 13 sessions with these papers, which are reviewed and corrected by the research scholars across these 3 days. On day 1, we have 3 sessions, day 2, 7, and day 3, 3 sessions. We have 5 venues on which we will be presenting all these sessions. These are the technical sessions we have planned on day 1, day 2, and day 3. Of course, there is a lot of hard work and association gone into this, which had helped to culminate into this session. A lot of well wishes and blessings of many friends, associations, and colleagues are behind this. If I take the names, it will take pages and pages, but still, I want to thank our management, principal, HODs of various departments, deans, teaching and non-teaching staff of TIST, Professor Anastasia Pandas, and who is the international department, and Professor Oleg Popov of Odisha Academy. I mean, their cooperation is immense. They have joined us today at odd hours. It's early morning, 5:30 to 6 o'clock there. Also, Mr. Patricio, the editor of the UGC-approved journal Sustainability, Agri, Food and Environmental Research. Professor Mankesh from Pune of Serum, with whom we have a long association since the year 2010. And to Rebuild Kerala, an initiative of Government of Kerala. Professor Ashmita Divekar of BNCA UNA SDJ Academy, who we met only in this conference, and she helped us a lot to get some papers and to get the chief guest also. Ultratech Cements Limited, ICI, IGBC, ISTE, and Institution of Engineers, the reviewers, the authors of research papers, the participants. Of course, my friend and BTech classmate, the engineer-in-chief, Anil Tripathi of Odisha PWD. And of course, my family, the staff and students in the civil engineering department. The way they worked day in and out, day out, is immeasurable. I sincerely hope all the participants will have fruitful sessions and wish all of you will be taking away useful, sustainable thoughts and ideas which can be shared with your friends, students, and colleagues for the betterment of life on Earth. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that beautiful introduction. Now, it's an honor to have such a great personality amongst us all to introduce about Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. I humbly invite Professor Oleg Popov, Organizing Secretary, ICI TES 2021, Department of Technology of Building Production, Vice Rector, Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. Sir, please.
Okay. Hello to all. Please let me to introduce you my academy. I plan to show a short presentation about it. Okay, I show anything other. 1 minute, please. Okay, I hope now you see the start of my presentation. Odessa State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture. We was foundation in 1930 year. In this year, in the year 2020, we celebrate 90 years from our foundation. We are the university with a narrow specialization. It's a specialization in field of civil engineering and field of architecture. In Ukraine, we have 5 universities like we with us, of course, and all of this university was found in 90 years ago. So our academy situated in Odessa, in the south of Ukraine, and the coast of Black Sea. And maybe today later, I will have a possibility to show you some pictures from our city. But now it's I want to show you a short presentation about our academy. So our academy, as I say, was founded in 1930, and maybe this time not the best time of for our academy, but we are don't stop. We are work and hope all be better in our future and future of higher education in this time of COVID, and I hope a post-COVID will be not away from us. So we have a higher education establishment in Ukraine accreditation system. So we use a higher education in all world of these universities. From the 2007, we signed the Bologna Convention, and all our work from this time, not only for our academy, for educational system of Ukraine, we work in according to the Bologna Convention, and we change in Ukraine, we change our system according to this convention. Now we have around 4,000 students in our academy. As I saw, we have a short specialization only in field of civil engineering and field of architecture. We're preparing builders in all of field of buildings, start from the architects, from designers, and civil engineers, specialists in different field of civil engineers, like constructors, like technologists, and other. Together, we have around 4,000 students today in our academy. About 500 faculty members, 100 staffs we have now in academy. It's a professor, it's an assistant professor, and assistants together. 36, now 38 departments we have in our academy, and 5 different research schools and several laboratories. Like today, work 8 laboratories in different fields of our researchers work in our academy. So our institute, one of the big our institutions, it's Institute of Architecture and Fine Arts and Institute of Civil Engineering. It's 2 biggest institutes in our academy. In Institute of Architecture and Fine Arts, we are preparing architects for the building and for structures. Also, we're preparing designers for the architectural environment, and we preparing specialists in field of urban planning. And our last educational program, it's a program in field of fine arts, decorative arts, restoration, and we start preparing these students 8 years ago, and now we plan to develop in this field also. Our Institute of Civil Engineering and preparing the first of all it's industrial and civil constructors, and also we're preparing specialists in field of building of bridges and transport tunnels. Our institute, which name Constructor Technology Institute, preparing the urban construction and manage, and they preparing technologies of building constructions, and they preparing specialists in field of products and materials. It's one of our pictures from our laboratories on the factory, in the real factories. The next institute, it's the Institute of the Hydraulic Engineering and Civil Engineering. This institute, also one of the big institute in our academia, we're preparing here in this institute the specialists in the field of water supply, field of heat and gas supply and ventilation. Also had this institute preparing specialists in field of building of roads and airfields and other transport system. Our institute, which work in field of management, in field of information technologies, was named Educational and Scientific Institute of Business and Information Technologies. Here they're preparing a big amount of specialists in field in these fields, like a business and information technologies. Here is we preparing specialists in geodesy, in marketing, in management, in administration. Here is also preparing specialists in the field of information and technologies and information systems and technologies. Here is also preparing economists. Of course, all of these specialists is specialists in field of building first of all, but not only. Here is also we preparing a specialist in project management, like an MBA program, but a little bit other one. So this is our five institute, and also we have special scientific schools. These schools work in institute and work in laboratory and in special departments who also has in our academy. This is the five most important our scientific schools, not all of, but most important, as I say. First of all, it's institute. It's a science school with working in field of estimation model of the straight resistance and hard pressed reinforced concrete. It's a of course we're working with the different structures and different construction, and have a very rich school, a scientific school in this field. The next one, it's a school which work in the study of the influence of technological damage and concrete structures on the work on concrete and reinforced concrete structures under the influence of different type of loads. It's two different schools, but similar names, but it is two different schools, and they work in different fields of building science. The next one, it's schools which work with structure, with the strength and destruction of building composite material and structures. These schools work with materials, with building structures, and for me, I'm also working in this school, and all of the school, as I say, it's very important and a very strong schools in our academy, but not all. Next school, working with building technologies. In building technologies, we work real with technologies, and we different system of building organization on the real work, real building objects. And the next one, last one, it's science school which work with the heating, with the ventilation, with the gas and thermal supply, and air protection. All our institute has minimum one scientific school whose work during our work in our academy. Our academy has our several filials in the real factories, in the real project companies, and work with the real business. This is a picture who show the some of our filials, our departments on the work zone. Here is one of department in the big, maybe biggest factory in concrete factory in Odessa. And here we have the special auditorium, special project cabinets, and the museum of concrete we has in this object also. It's other of our architecture business and constructions departments on the different factories, different objects. It's main important object in Odessa when we took part, our academia specialists, professors of our academy took part during the restoration, during the buildings. Last maybe 10 years. Most important main building of our city of Odessa. It's Odessa Opera Theater. Odessa state Odessa has underground of our city many empty places, and these places took part to the our life and for our building also. And sometimes we need to protect our building and our structures from this influence of this and empty places we can name catacombs, and our theater also. 80 years ago, we took part in fully restoration of this theater, of this building, and now you can see the real pictures of our Odessa Opera and Ballet Theater, who is the especially say the second one in Europe by the nice. Other well-known objects. It's Potemkin's stairs. It's a stairs from our main street still to the Black Sea, and our specialist also took part during the restoration of this object 3 years ago, and now you can see this object in very good VF, and thanks to our academia also. In this year, we took part, and was the end, the reconstruction after the big fires of this house. It's a house in the central part of one of the houses situated in central part of Odessa, names House of Rusov. And in 2020 year, our city together with our academy was the end of reconstruction of this city. Now it's fantastic. It's a beautiful city, ready to work and ready to will be show for all tourists who visit our city of Ukraine. Also in this year, in the year 2020, we took part, and was the end of reconstruction of Colonnade. That's also one of the symbols of our city, Colonnade, our Belvedere, near the Vorontsov Palace. You can see how we do this, and you can see how we have now. And in the 2nd of September, we end of reconstruction of this object. So it's the birthday of our city, and now our tourists can visit this object and can from this object very nice, very beautiful view for the Black Sea. It's a good place for the photos, for the visit in our city. Our international cooperation, we have for that 15 different cooperation agreement and more of them working till to pandemic situation. Now we step by step start to work again in this field, and we hope all come back to uh, before pandemic situation, and will be better for all us, and we can to visit each other real, not only by online. So we have different agreements during work of Tempus project. It's I hope you know it's a biggest European project. We have two of them, and all of them was in field of sustainable development. I also talked about it a little late today. Now we have different Erasmus plus agreement and grants. It's post Tempus grants. Now they name only Erasmus. Here is only several of them. In this year we have new 5 or 6 agreements in this field, and we plan to start in this year to work in the framework of these agreements. These agreements, the main goal of this agreement is mobility and sustainable development of institutes of all of departments who took part in these grants. Also, we are one of the leaders in such program which name Mevlana. It's a special program with Turkish universities. We have 5 different agreements. Here is 3 university with the most important, our main partners. It's Agnes University in Antalya, it's University from Aydin, and University of Pamukkale from Denizli. And in Ukraine, we are the leader who took part in these programs. In every year, around 30 students and professor can take part in mobilities, international mobilities with Turkish universities. So we are situated, you can see where we situate in the middle of Europe. Welcome to our academy, welcome to cooperation. We are always open for the different events, different cooperation, and we can work not only by day and in early morning also. Thank you very much. Hope this conference will be very fruitful for all of us. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here and know more about Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture. Next, to familiarize all of us with the chief guest, I invite Professor Asmita Joshi, Director, United Nations Academic Impact Hub, BNCA. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's my privilege today to introduce Dr. Damodaran on this auspicious morning of Sufala Ekadashi. And I thank Dr. Damodaran for accepting our invitation and being here today morning. Dr. Damodaran is the Deputy Director for Partnerships and Public Engagement in the United Nations Department of Public Information's Outreach Division and is the Chief of United Nations Academic Impact Initiative, which aligns institutions of higher learning and research with the objective of the United Nations and the states and people who contribute to it. He is also the current Secretary of United Nations Committee on Information. His earlier posts with the organizations have included the Department of Peacekeeping and Special Political Questions, as well as the Executive Office of the Secretary General. Damodaran has been a member of Indian Foreign Services where he was promoted to the rank of ambassador and where he served as executive assistant to the Prime Minister of India, as well as in the diplomatic missions in Moscow and to the United Nations and in the range of national governmental ministries. He has been actively involved in mass media in India, including print, radio, and television. And he was the recipient of the prestigious Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union Award for the best radio documentary. We at Bhanuben Nanavati College of Architecture for Women in Pune have been associated with Mr. Damodaran since we visited his office in UN headquarters in New York in 2012 when we had just completed our first program under UNAI in Tanzania. Since then, we have been blessed by his guidance and mentorship for all the UNAI activities that we carry out in BNCA. And we look forward and seek his guidance in the near future. I extend warm welcome on behalf of BNCA and the ICT's conference organizers and request Dr. Damodaran to give his inaugural speech. Over to Dr. Damodaran.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asmita ji. I was very touched by that introduction. It brought back to mind our own association, the immense work that BNCA has done for the United Nations and for the United Nations academic impact. I remember when I first heard of BNCA, I was so struck by one of its mottos, that life is not only larger than architecture or design, but above all disciplines of education put together. And that's a very powerful metaphor. When you look at it, it's a metaphor for this conference, for the theme of this conference, and in many ways, it's a metaphor for the United Nations itself. Dr. Karthi made a very moving reference to the family that is represented here today. Excuse me. And when a guest enters the home of a family, there's always the sense of strangeness at the beginning, but a gradual sense of belonging. And that's really what I have felt over the past hour. I have seen all of you, your faces, your smiles. I've listened to many of you, and I've been moved by your wisdom, your guidance. I think of what Dr. Alex Matthews said about the importance of person-to-person contacts, about being a person-person, about his remarks about how there has to be a human factor, that education may bring an intellectual quality, but it must have an emotional quality, and yes, a spiritual quality. I think of the reference that Dr. Verghese made to the glorious moment in the world's history and India's history when our nation attained freedom in 1947. And my mind goes back to the very origins of Kochi, of Talbot House in Poperinge in Belgium. This was a town famed for its weaving industry, for its cloth making. And then suddenly in the 14th century, the ruler decreed that people of that town would no longer be able to make cloth. And there was a massive civil disobedience movement. People continued to make cloth. So that link, if you will, between Poperinge, Talbot House, and India in the 1947 to which Dr. Verghese referred, is something which I think animates our conversation today. And by another coincidence, today, the 9th of January, marks the 75th anniversary of the day that an anxious world awaited the beginning of what was to be the most ambitious experiment in civil engineering, if I may put it that way. and that is the United Nations. The first meeting of the United Nations General Assembly took place on the 10th of January, 1946, in London. And I call it civil engineering because the United Nations was brought about by civilians, by civil society, and not by the armies who had run the world for the past 6 years. And I call it engineering because it was so important to design, to create, and to innovate something that had never been before. Looking back on these 75 years is somewhat similar to looking down the glorious Potemkin Schody, the Potemkin steps in Ukraine to which Dr. Oleg Popov made reference. Because when you look down the steps, you see only the treads. But when you look at from the ground up the steps, you see the risers by a fantastic method of architectural design. And the fact that Dr. Popov, in some ways, reflecting what Dr. Alex Matthews said, that you have a school not only of architecture, but of fine art. Because that is ultimately what all of this comes down to. In the last 12 months that have vanquished us all, I think the thing most of us look forward to or look back upon are the small pleasures that we miss or can no longer enjoy. And this is something that you, at your university and in your department, have done so ably. Because on the one hand, civil engineering, sustainable development, these are things which are precise and scientific. But look at the variance of science itself. Look at the 3 halls of your university. One hall named after the great mathematician who belonged to a time when we would not have imagined that science existed, Aryabhat. And think of another hall dedicated to the memory of one of our contemporary 20th century engineers who put India on the engineering map of the world, Dr. Visvesvaraya. And then, to make it global, as your university is, as your connections with Odessa and the world beyond have shown, and your connections within India, you have Albert Einstein, a man who not only revolutionized science, but also the science of peace. And I think of life in 2021 as, in many ways, a series of, if I may borrow a metaphor from this scholarship that Professor Preeti Tekkath, your illustrious principal, has followed, a series of grid-connected inverters, of using electricity and power in all its forms to transform and infuse power in other forms. Because that is what education, as you have suggested, that is what the United Nations, and that is what the Sustainable Development Goals are all about. You cannot interlink them. If you choose to delink them or keep them separate, you will succeed in failing. And I was thinking today, if someone were to ask me, which is the critical sustainable development goal, it's really like asking a parent who her favorite child is. Because each one of these goals, as I suggested, has a relevance and a connection to the other. But lest we think that an academic discipline like civil engineering is something which is connected only to some of the sustainable development. Pause for a moment. Where would food security be without the warehouses to store grain, to ship them across the seas? Where would health be without imaginative construction of hospitals and clinics? You go down the line, every one of the SDGs depends upon what you are doing. And that brings me again to the mission of your great university, to provide the ambience necessary to achieve professional and technological excellence at global level, to undertake collaborative research that fosters new ideas for sustainable development. Collaborative. Again, we saw in Dr. Popo's presentation how the network of academic collaboration can really infuse life, and to instill in graduates ethical values and empathy for the needs of society. Because scholarship, which does not relate to society, but is conducted in the darkness of a laboratory or a classroom, will never serve its purpose. And I was looking at the schedule that Professor Karthi and Asmita Jeev were kind enough to send me. I must confess, as I've often said, I'm probably the last surviving technologically illiterate Indian. So there's much in the agenda which is new or novel to me. But as I read it further, I realized the enormous human implications of what you're doing. I think of the panels that are going to be chaired or moderated by Dr. C.P. Archana on affordable clean energy, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And I look at one of the discussions there about the link between cement and global warming. Who would have thought of that connection? And today, when we think about waste management, to have an eco-friendly product like geopolymer mortar and concrete, to support the development of pavement construction in the civil engineering industry, a new approach to predicting the performance of the geopolyester paving blocks. A huge quantity of ceramic waste is generated during processing and handling. That can be averted. So this again, the idea of a polymer developed in a lab, which ultimately affects the sun and the floods to which we are prone. You think of the innovation of using date seed oil. And I was reading about experiments in the United Arab Emirates, where there are more than 40 million palm trees. And annually, they produce 1 million tons of date seeds. 10% of those can be extracted as oil. So we have 100,000 tons of oils that in turn can be converted into biofuel. And that waste can be used in gaseous prion oil. And the final waste is used in other applications, particularly in agriculture and fertilizer. So again, human ingenuity, reinventing, using something that would be discarded, waste, and bringing it to infuse new life and fresh crops and agriculture. Similar to the product that we all know and love so well in Kerala, the coconut. The coir, the fiber that is a product of the coconut industry, it's acquired from coconut husks which are treated to remove their organic components. It is used for combustion or fertilizing purposes, but there have been studies in using it for bioinsulating material because of its high mechanical strength and the fact that it is resistant to insects and to rot. In our home state of Kerala, coconuts are harvested every 45 days. And then there are various methods of creating this fiber to the specification that we want. Soaking the husks in stagnant water for 3 to 6 weeks. The better quality of the husks in Kerala is attributed to the short interval of time between their plucking, husking, and the removal of the husks. And then I look at the set of discussions that are going to be moderated by Professor N.A. Anjita on good health, well-being, sustainable cities and communities, about monitoring land use and land cover changes in coastal Karnataka, which was the subject of her own research, and which showed how barren land could imaginatively be replaced by scrub forest. And I believe the changes in the period that she recorded between 1990 and 2019 was phenomenal. Again, the power of science. You think of a connection, global connections, which we've been talking about. You're going to have a discussion on total solid waste management in Coimbatore. And this is something exactly on the lines that you are discussing, which was carried out in another way 4 years ago in the city of Sfax in Tunisia. Tunisia, Tamil Nadu, different place on the map. Scholars, same imagination, same knowledge, same ambition, coming to conclusions. And realizing that through geographical information spatial systems, GIS, you can map more productive routes for waste management, which will also bring you benefits in terms of CO2 emissions, the hours of work, and the maintenance of vehicles. Underlying all the deliberations at your conference, I find the one element is that of concrete. It's the most widely used material on our planet, and the yearly consumption of concrete is approaching 30 billion tons. For the last 2 decades, the trend of using high-strength concrete has been increasing because of building infrastructures. And here again, researchers from Saudi Arabia and Pakistan working together have shown the advantages of infusing concrete with ground bekas ash from sugarcane. And in Mexico, they have taken that a step further by infusing that sugarcane ash with lime. So again, the byproducts of agriculture making our world more sustainable. Dr. Elba Helen George is going to be chairing the panels on clean water and sanitation, climate action, and industry. Again, concrete in many themes. We realize, for instance, that conventional waste treatment methods don't solve problems because the harmful residues, such as ash or dust or gas left behind, cannot be filtered out without the use of innovative technology. And her paper spoke about plasma arc technology, waste treatment that uses high electrical energy and high temperature precisely to defeat these elements. It's not news that buildings use a lot of concrete. There are no substitutions for it. And concrete essentially accounts for about 7% of all global emissions. Technology and technology factories are pivotal in reducing this. And that is an adventure, again, that your panels are going to be able to explore. According to one research firm, the data industry has the fastest growing carbon footprint. The number of data centers worldwide has grown from 500,000 in 2012 to more than 8 million today. And as COVID takes its toll, that is only going to go higher as we begin to meet increasingly virtually in this space. Then the idea of bioflocculation. This is something which studies have been done in Malaysia on, again, our cherished Murinakaya, the moringa tree, where its seed has been used for water treatment purposes because of its good, low-cost and non-toxic characteristics. But these have not yet been used fully for the microalgae harvesting technologies, which you are going to explore, and which I would venture to suggest will be pivotal for our SDG. Dr. C.J. Chitra has worked on new sustainable building blocks in cooperating waste materials, namely rice husk ash, fly ash, crushed glass, and aggregates bound with bitumen as the binder. And the panel that she's going to moderate is going to look at plastic incorporated concrete, something which MIT in the United States, students some years ago ventured an experiment to show that by exposing plastic flakes to small, harmless doses of gamma radiation and then pulverizing the flakes into fine powder, they can mix the irradiated plastic with cement paste and ash to produce concrete that is up to 15% stronger than the conventional material. Dr. M. Anjali will be speaking on transport and pavement construction, how low-cost roads have had an important role in the road network to provide a faster way to travel between villages and promote access to basic services. And so, when I look back at this and the idea of how, in the phrase of the National University of Construction and Architecture in Kiev in the Ukraine, we have to teach to build the future. And there's a play on that word build, because it's built in the sense of the United Nations that I was talking about 75 years ago. But it's also built in the very practical dimensions that you're bringing into it. Dr. Annie Sonia Xavier, who's done a review on cost overruns in Kerala-based construction industries, again, making sustainable development financially sustainable, because we no longer can have the luxury of overrunning costs in order to meet our social, environmental, ecological, and environmental ideas. The idea, as one of the discussions you will have, of how a leading manufacturer of athletic shoes, Adidas, is going to introduce new sustainable product solutions in 2020 and be climate neutral by 2050. In fact, it was in the year 2015 that Adidas first introduced its new eco-friendly shoe at the United Nations. So I thought I would just give you this stranger's perception, if you will, of the wonderful work that you're doing. Not only to suggest how relevant it is to every cause of the United Nations, and I go beyond the Sustainable Development Goals, I go to the core values of the United Nations: peace and security, human rights, economic development, the right of people not to be deprived. Because the talent that you represent, the talent that I'm humbled to be a part of, the gratitude that I feel in my heart for your having thought of inviting me, the contribution each one of you makes is what sustains our organization. I thank you, and I wish you Godspeed.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful introduction. Now, I would like to request you to officially inaugurate this ceremony.
Sorry, yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that we've had a series of inaugurations and we're already well into the process, but a formal inauguration it shall be, and I'm looking forward to being part of the conversation.
Thank you so much, sir. It's indeed our pleasure too.
Thank you so much, sir. It means a lot to have you here. Thank you so much, sir. Our next address is by Professor Dr. P.J. Joseph, sir, Director, Topic Public School Society. To introduce him, I invite Assistant Professor Sahimor Eldos, Department of Civil Engineering, TIST. Ma'am, please.
Good morning, all. It's a great honor to introduce Professor Dr. P.J. Joseph, Director, Kochi Public School Society. He was the head of Postgraduate and Research Department of English of UC College, Alway which is in Kerala. He was also a member of the Board of Studies of Mahatma Gandhi University. He has served in various capacities as a member of the state-level academic core group for the Total Literacy Project of Kerala, Vice President of the Association for Environmental Protection, the Secretary of the Ernakulam District Committee and member of the National Council of Indian Adult Education Association, Project Director and member of the executive of various environmental protection programs and one of the founder of member of Commonwealth Association for the Education and Training of Adults. He was actively involved in the slum rehabilitation program in Alway. He has been elected as the Vice President of the Kerala chapter of the Confederation of NGOs of Rural India, CNRI. The Kingston University School of Education UK conferred on Professor P.J. Joseph the International Visiting Fellowship in 2007. He has represented the country at various international conferences and presented papers. He has published several books, including 4 travelogues in Malayalam, which is widely accepted by the readers. He is also officiating as the President of Indian School Psychology Association.
Please.
Distinguished guests and my dear friends, civil engineering, one of the basic engineering programs, started from scratches, had its growth, phenomenal growth, until when we looked around, we found our cities filled with huge concrete structures penetrating into the sky. These huge concrete structures penetrating into the sky were once upon a time symbols of development and progress. But when our cities were filled with so many of them, and when they were turned into concrete jungles, we realized the harm, the hazards of that. It added to the global warmth, and which was harmful to man's peaceful and harmonious existence there. We found that we have to sustain the environment in order to have a peaceful and happy life. As Shoemaker, the great economist from Germany, stated, a man living in the most remote village of an underdeveloped country is far more healthier than a person living in the most advanced cities in the world. So the city life became more horrible, became more unhealthy. Then we had a thinking of sustainable development. It was then that we thought of environmentally friendly constructions, or we thought of green buildings. In this connection, I wish to share one of my experiences with regard to that. Once when I was participating in a conference in Nairobi, I was called upon to preside over one of the sessions on environmental protection. At that session, a lady from the United States called Mary Lois Gibbs was to present her paper. She presented a paper that was, in fact, the story of her own. She was desirous of having her own dwelling place, a house, beautiful house, there in the most attractive, one of the most attractive places in the United States. So when she was seeking for that, she saw the notification of the housing board announcing a housing project at a very attractive place, which was very close to Niagara Falls, one of the best tourist attractions of the country. And she very much longed to have a dwelling place, a house in that project, housing project. So she applied for it as soon as she saw the announcement. and she was anxiously waiting for getting a house allotted to her. And finally, she got a house allotted to her, and she was waiting for the completion of the building. And once the building was completed and the keys were handed over to her, she was immensely happy. She shifted into that home. And that was a housing society which was self-contained, with schools nearby, hospitals, and all human facilities are met with, or needs are met with. And she was so immensely happy. Happiness found no bounds. And she admitted her children into the school nearby, and then started her problems. Very soon she found that her children fell ill. She took them to the hospital. She was told that they were suffering from liver cirrhosis. Liver cirrhosis, a disease that is affecting mostly the alcoholics. But she or her husband now used to take alcohol. And she wondered how these children could have this infection. And gradually she found that many of the children of the locality were coming over there to meet the doctor. And then she started interacting with the parents of other children. And she found that the symptoms of the illness of most of these children are similar. So that made her wonder why the people of that area get affected with these liver problems. Then she started studying on the subject. She went around. First of all, she could have no idea about it. And finally, she made a research on the place where the houses were built. And she went to the registrar's office and traced its document of that area. And she realized that there was a place where there was a factory working once upon a time. That factory functioned there for quite a long time. It was a highly polluting factory, and it was a highly profit-making factory. But there was a time this factory went on loss. The factory went on loss because of its old machinery and because of the technology advanced, but the factory did not advance their machineries. So it went on a great loss. So they stopped the functioning of the factory. Then the land was lying vacant. They gave the land to the government, surrendered the land to the government with a document where they charged a cost of just $1. And in the document they had written specifically that it is not suitable for human inhabitation because of the effluents of the factory, which were driven into a lake called Love Canal. That lake was filled with the effluents and impurities, and the place had become most uninhabitable for mankind. But days passed, years passed. This whole story was forgotten, and the place was lying vacant. The canal got filled by natural phenomenon, and finally, nobody knew about the history of the land. When the housing board was thinking of a housing project, they found this land convenient enough for them to make use of. So they acquired that land, and they cleared that land. It was beautiful enough and very close to a tourist attraction, that is the Niagara Falls. And they announced the housing scheme, and many of these people applied for it, and this Lois Gibbs got her house, and she found that it is the pollutants of the factory that caused this dreadful disease to her children and the children of the people in the neighborhood. So she complained about. She got the people organized. They had a organization formed. They made their agitations. The housing board did not yield because they had invested so much of money into that project. They did not want to waste it. So they now admitted it. Finally, she produced the proof of the document, and they made lots of struggle and agitations. Finally, they won. And the Housing Board was compelled to give them another location, another housing, other alternative houses to these people. So by the end of that, these children had to suffer a lot because of this serious illness. So the point is that the selection of the area where to construct a building, that has to be done very carefully, very after a very great scrutiny. Otherwise, such great hazards will happen. This is one of the aspects that I wanted to emphasize. Even from the selection of a place, we have to be very cautious. And even if you achieve everything, many things in life, if you are incapacitated to enjoy your achievements, what is the good of that? I recently read saw a video on my WhatsApp where a rich woman says she has many mansions to live, but now she is confined to the sick room of the hospital. She has many vehicles, many cars, very expensive cars, but what she makes use of is just a wheelchair. And she has planes to travel from country to country, and she used to. But what now she is doing is to move from one lab to another of the hospital in her wheelchair. So even if you achieve many things in life, if you are not able, if you are incapacitated to enjoy those benefits, and what good is of that? So we have to be very cautious about this. I was just suggesting the hazard of a careless selection of a place. Many more things are to be told about it, like the selection of materials, as Dr. Damodaran stated. So many aspects we have to look into. So this makes us realize the truth of what this German economist told, that living in a place very remote from the development is healthier than living in the most developed area of a city. So this is something as a warning that I stated. It's a real story. And she has written a book on her own life, which is titled Love Canal, My Story. I just said this as a reminder and a warning against this unbridled or uncontrolled development, as we call it, which is actually development that defeats our achievements. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's indeed a really important reminder to all of us who's related to the sustainability field. Now, we have a wonderful person with us for the next address. I welcome Professor Dr. Preeti Tekket, Principal, Torkish Institute of Science and Technology. And to introduce her to all of us, I invite Assistant Professor Annie Sonia Xavier, Department of Civil Engineering, Torkish Institute of Science and Technology. And please.
Good morning all. It's my great privilege to introduce Professor Dr. Preeti Tekket, Principal, Torkish Institute of Science and Technology, Arakulam. She graduated in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from NSS College of Engineering, Palakkad in 1995 and done MTech in Applied Electronics in 2006. She secured PhD in Electrical Engineering with specialization in Power Electronics in the year 2016. She is an active member of technical societies like IEEE, IST, and IEE, etc. She has several international journal publications and conference proceedings in her credit.
Yes, ma'am, you have to unmute.
Esteemed members of TIST management, Dr. Alex Matthew, President, TIST, Dr. K. Verghese, our founder, director and manager, Professor Dr. P.J. Joseph, our director, Chief guest of the day, Professor Ramu Damodaran, Chief, United Nations Academy Impact US, Professor Asmita Joshi, the Director UNAI Hub BNCA, Professor Oleg Popov and Professor Anastasia Pandas from Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. Our knowledge partner, the Serum, Professor Mangesh, Director Serum. Our other dignitaries from Rebuild Kerala, HOD of Civil Engineering Department, Professor Ledikarthi, Dr. Vasudev, Dr. Smita, faculty members of Civil Engineering Department, other key speakers, and dear participants. Good morning to all of you. Civil Engineering Department of TEST is one of the NBA accredited department right from 2017. And one of the greatest achievements of the Civil Engineering Department in the last, in this year is our the MOU signed with Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. So I congratulate the department for taking such an initiative. And I am extremely happy that the Department of Civil Engineering of TEST is jointly organizing its second international conference on innovative trends in civil engineering for sustainability, jointly that is with the Academy of Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine. And this will surely open a platform for researchers and academicians to share their thoughts and findings on sustainability. As Professor Damodaran sir correctly told, there are a lot of research opportunities in the field of civil engineering. And since we have faculty specialized in almost in all fields, I really feel that initiative should be taken to that is go into such areas and that is explore more. And that is our this international collaboration will also help us. That is student exchange, faculty exchange, and that is taking collaborative research works and producing that is combined publications, etc. So nearly 84 papers has been received, and out of that, that is 14 international papers are there. So that is, I wish that this international conference that is open a venue that is for new researchers, which the departments can undertake. And it is always our dream to start a school of architecture. So I hope this international conference will give us more and more ideas regarding the same. So I wish the conference all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With that, we come to an end to this inaugural ceremony of ICITS 2021. For the vote of thanks, I invite Associate Professor Dr. Smita KK, Organizing Secretary, ICITS 2021, Department of Civil Engineering, TEST. Ma'am, please.
Good morning to all. And the last part of this session has been entrusted to me to offer vote of thanks. First and foremost, let me thank Dr. Alex Matthew sir, President, Kochi Public School Society, for joining this inaugural function. Sir is the most important person for the success of all ventures in TEST. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank Professor Ramu Damodaran sir, Chief of United Nations Academic Impact, who has accepted our invitation to inaugurate this international conference, ICITS 2021, and delivering the inaugural address. Even though it is midnight at US, sir has given a motivating, sustainable talk which lasts in our hearts for long. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Professor Oleg Popov and Anastasia Pandas, professors, Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture, Ukraine, who has been a part of this international conference. They have provided great support in improving the international reach of this venture. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Dr. K. Varghese, sir, Founder, Director, and Manager, Kochi Public School Society, and one of the significant personality in the development of TEST in joining this introductory function of ICITS 21. Thank you, sir. Professor Asmita Joshi Divekar, Director, United Nations Impact Hub at BNCA, is a person who promotes sustainability in all aspects of life and is the right person to be present in this conference. Thank you, madam, for being a part of this conference. I would like to thank Dr. Mangesh Kashyap sir, President, Serum, for providing a pathway to the subject of this conference. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank Professor Dr. P.J. Joseph sir, Director, Tokach Public School Society, in providing the support to all aspects of TIST. Thank you, sir. Also, I would like to thank all the directors of the Tokach Public School Society who could not join this virtual conference. Thank you all. Professor Dr. Preeti Teketh, Principal, TIST, is one who inspires and motivates us in all development activities of TIST. Thank you, Miss, for your presence. Professor Lati Kati, Head of the Department of Civil Engineering, who is the brain and heart of this international conference, without whom this would not have been a reality. Thank you, Miss, for all the support in all aspects and to hold us up in every fall. Thank you, Miss. I thank all the reviewers, chairs and co-chairs who did a great job of reviewing our papers, without whom we could not have even initiated this conference. Thank you all. I thank all the delegates, national and international, who has actively participated in the conference. Thank you all. I would like to thank deans, HODs of all departments of TIST and the officials of Odisha State Academy of Civil Engineering and Architecture. Thank you all. I would like to thank the organizing secretaries, Associate Professor Dr. Vasudev sir and Assistant Professor Anju Paul, for coordinating all the details of this conference and making this a great success. Also, I would like to express thanks to all my colleagues in my department for their untiring work for this great achievement. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants and students without whom this would not have been a reality. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you. I once again thank all the participants for patiently attending this session. Thank you. Next, we have the keynote address at 11:45. I repeat, we have the keynote address at 11:45, and you can join to that keynote address with the same link. I hope I'm clear. You can join this session with the same link at 11:45. Thank you.
Thank you all, sirs and ma'ams, for joining us for this inaugural session. Thank you.
Thank you.